Hi guys, it's me, Iris. Right now I'm pretty sure anyone has seen a lot of the protesting that's going on, and that's what really influenced this video. I wanted to share my story as far as what I've known of people who have experienced police brutality around me, and then on top of that I have at least a story of racism. Like, I did deal with police growing up, and they weren't exactly as fair with us as they could have been with actually, now that I think about it, thank God I actually thought of the story, because now I can actually tell you a personal story that happened to me and some people in my family that was experiencing police brutality. The other story I was going to tell was actually someone that I know of that I'm going to keep anonymous because it's a very deep story. And last but not least, I was actually going to tell another story as well about at least racism that I had faced sometime during my childhood. So, with that said, let's go into the story, alright? So the first story I'll tell you is about the racism that I experienced. I was about 8 years old. We were moving into a new apartment. My mother had checked it out, and then she came back and told us that it was not vacant anymore. And then I just remember about a week later or so, she told us that we were moving into that apartment. So, I never questioned it. I wasn't the type to want to question things growing up. But I decided to not question it, like I said, and we moved in. Years later, she told us the story of how she went and checked it out, as I remember from the story, and then she always had a suspicion that there was something wrong, that there was vacancy, because when she called in, they told her that there were vacancies. So she told my stepdad, who happens to be a Peruvian male. He's much lighter. Much lighter. She's light too, but she has, I guess, more because she's mixed with she's mixed, so she, I guess, has more genotypes that look more of African American. So with that said, he went and checked out the apartment, and they told him that there were vacant apartments, and as they were going up in the elevator to go check the apartment, the landlord, had told him that they try to protect the neighborhood and that there were only Italians living in the building and they like to try to keep it that way, and she laughed. She thought it was funny. Haha, he's with a black woman. Haha. Whereas my mother likes to refer to herself and identify to herself as a mixed woman, which is true. She is black and white. So, there you go. So with that said, that is the story of some early racism that I faced. Even around then, I remember going to school, since that neighborhood was like that, and I had this one kid who passed by me. His name, I won't disclose, but we'll call him Mucus. We'll call him Mucus. There we go, Mucus. So Mucus ran around the park. He used to run around a lot, and one day he ran up to me and he said, "Hey, Iris," but he said my real name, and I said, "What's up?" And I didn't say what's up, but hey. And he said, "Why don't you scratch your wind?" And I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "Scratch your wind, maybe you'll get lighter." Ran away. And I was like, okay. So yeah, racism has always been something that I've always noticed, and it's affected me enough to be more of the quiet type when things like this happen. So I'm trying to be a little more vocal, because I have felt a little more influenced by some of the posts I've seen on social media, where it's like, if you stay neutral, then you are part of the problem. I never really considered myself as someone who never really, I'm not going to say pick a side, because obviously I pick the side of my people, and I care about African Americans, and though I'm also a mixed woman, I love all of me. I honestly love all of me. I love even the native side of me. I also have native in me. Like, I love all of me. So with that said, I like saying what I said. My bad. The next story I'm going to tell you guys is actually about someone who faced police brutality around me. Actually, no, I'll save that story for last, because that's really deep. That's a really deep story. So the police brutality that I faced in my actual real life. Hey guys, so I forgot one more story that I actually can tell you guys that was personal to me, that was about police brutality. But apparently one time this is apparently when I was like basically a child, I was like 2 years old. Apparently there was, this actually happened to my dad. My father was arrested because someone had recently robbed a taxi, but he looked like my dad. So basically they thought it was him, and they went to court for it, etc. And when the police were entering the house to be able to come and arrest my dad, they literally just blew down the door, like, they blew down the door. Apparently, I was, like, under the door. And this is stories that I've heard from my mom. My mom was telling me stories like this. Apparently, I was under the door. My mom's going, my baby, my baby. She's, like, screaming, trying to get me from under the door. They're, like, barging in. They tore apart the house, apparently. They cut out, opened the couches, everything. They apparently, like, just destroyed the apartment for just arresting him because apparently he looked like a suspect who robbed a taxi. So, last thing that I find always the most discouraging part of the story, actually, I get a little insecure about the story because it involves me specifically, but when they were trialing my dad, my mom had brought me to the court case, and they asked him a question, and I just ended up yelling, no! And I don't know why I ended up answering the question. I always kind of just, like, apparently, I was always, like, I consider myself really perceptive when I was young, but obviously I had no idea what was going on. So, like, even though they asked questions, maybe I didn't understand what was going on. They asked if my dad was there at a certain place during that evening, and I guess trying to figure out his alibi. And I said no, but I also remember saying no, he was with us. But I guess I just said no because, like, I was trying to say he was with us instead. So thank you very much for listening to my story. Again, subscribe, and I love you guys all. So you guys, I appreciate you guys all. Everyone who has supported me. Again, like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you again. Okay? Bye. I remember for one whole month during high school, I was getting bullied by two girls. I'll call them, court nail. The court nails. The court nails. So the court nails, court nails, they didn't wear nails, and I was actually just saying something, so, court nails, the court nails, court nails. I was thinking like toenails when I was saying that, like court nails, but then I realized they're girls, so it could sound like the nails I wear, but like, no, they never wore nails. They weren't the type, they didn't, you know, I don't want to show more bunny around. Anyways, that's not the... I'm supposed to take myself seriously. I'm so sorry, guys. One thing about me is you can't really 100% take me seriously, even though this is like a very serious matter and I'm not trying to mock it or anything like that. I have a lot of energy and a lot of things personal about me, so I'm just not really gonna get into it. But the court nails were bullying me for about a month, and I was like one whole year. I'm pretty sure I was like 17, and they were 2 years younger than me, so it would have been 15. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I was 17, they were 15, yes. And they were bullying me for a whole month, so I just didn't mind them. But I told my sister, and my sister is a hothead. Actually, I'm going to take these off because I like myself without glasses. I know I look better that way, but I just can't see the camera from far away when I place it together. So with that said, see, I told you I like it. Anyways, I also like anyways. The court nails bullied me for a month, and I didn't care. I told my sister though, and she approached them in the hallway and told them to leave me alone, and they both jumped her in the hallway. So they came out where at this time I was a smoker, so I was like smoking. I quit smoking, thank God. Like 100% don't even use tobacco at all anymore for anything. So I was smoking outside, and they came out and they were like, oh, you get your sister to do stuff for you? And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like, I have no clue what's going on. And like the vice principal comes out, and instead of stopping it, because he was the cheesiest vice principal ever, we'll call him Mr. Leg. Mr. Leg. He looked like a turtle. But Mr. Leg, he literally pulled out his phone and he just started filming. He's just like this. That's what I mean by he looked like a turtle. He always had a mouth open. He was like... And he, like, was filming. And, yeah, they eventually walked away because obviously no one's going to fight in front of the vice principal. I mean, that's just not smart, is it now? But, yeah, they walked away, and eventually my sister came out, and she was cheese. She was mad. She came out and she was just like, oh, we need to go fight those girls. And I was just like, Markayla is piece of Dalai Lama. I said my name. I'm going to do that a lot. I know I'm going to catch myself slipping a lot saying my name, but realistically, like, I have a brand that I'm trying to build, and that's because so I just like calling myself Iris. So long story short, I can actually make it short. At least shorter than I'm stretching it out. She came in, she told us we need to fight them, and I said, peace and only I'm not really a fighter, you know me. And she said, they jumped me both in the hallway. And I just remember looking at her and I staring at her for a long time, and let's go. We just started walking really fast, and I remember throwing all my stuff off. I was throwing my stuff off, my sister throwing her stuff off. We're all throwing our stuff off. There's everyone following us. They're like literally picking up our stuff, all our friends. And we caught up to the girls that were like they were like just turning up their street, like about to turn up their street. And well, they were literally turning on their street going towards their house. And we stopped them just before their house because, you know, amen, that's not legal. Thank God, amen, that's not legal. And I mean, I don't even think fighting is legal. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it is or isn't. I don't think there's no, I don't know. Probably not. Probably shouldn't fight. They probably don't suggest it. Anyways, we ended up fighting them, and the police got involved, and thankfully there was like no arrests. But with that said, we and my sister got suspended for 3 or 4 days or something like that, and they got suspended for 1. When they were literally initially did like bullying me for like an entire month, like we told them that like that takes a toll on someone's mental health. And you know, obviously my sister went out to defend me, but she actually went to talk to them. She wasn't even gonna fight them, like she just went to talk to them, and they jumped her in the hallway. That's the thing. So 2, you know, non-melanin ladies decided to go and jump my sister in the hallway when she wanted to have a conversation with them about why they are bullying her sister. So then we go out and do the same thing as them, and they got suspended for, oh wait, this has nothing to do with police brutality. It just had the police involved and no one got arrested, but like, I severely confused this story. It's just more about racism. My apologies, guys, because, you know, I just remembered the story wrong. My apologies. But yeah, that was some more racism that we faced in life. We got suspended for 3 or 4 days. They got suspended for 1. So that was that. But here's the story about police brutality. This is an actual story of police brutality. And it never happened to me, and it's just a really sad and deep story that I've always remembered. This person is very personal to me, and I love them very much. I'm gonna, like I said, keep them anonymous. So their name is Bod. And the Bod was walking down the street. Oh wait, a little background story. So Bod happened to be someone who was growing up in a non-opportunistic neighborhood, didn't really live an opportunistic lifestyle. Or life. Yes, lifestyle, life. And he ended up selling fake narcotics to try to get by. I mean, he had more of a conscience, so he wasn't really selling actual narcotics. He was selling fake narcotics. And one day he was walking down the street, and 2 cops passed by him, beat him up after suspecting him of, like, you know, like they questioned him, did the whole thing before, you know, they started attacking him. They beat him up, found the narcotics, and because they thought it was real drugs, they stuffed it down his throat and expected him to die, left him there to die. He never ended up dying. Obviously, he ended up living because it was fake. That's the crucial part of the story. It was actually fake because he is living 2 days. Thank God that he actually also had a conscience. Like, that is, I guess, good karma for him for not really wanting to sell anyone real narcotics. Like, obviously, people, you know, you can't control anyone. And you just wish people wouldn't do what they do sometimes. And I wish sometimes I didn't do certain things that I do, like, with, you know, procrastinating. But, yeah, that was that story of police brutality. Trying to like end my mouth before it goes on to a tangent, because that is literally just the end of the story. He was beat up and left there to die after they forced him to eat the narcotics. So it's like whenever I see someone try to say that police brutality doesn't exist or racism doesn't exist, I just don't really try to engage with them. I guess the way I have framed my core value and morale of when it comes to defending a situation is if it's really worth defending, I'll defend it. But if there's like a moment where you can tell, like at least from where I deem the person's not willing to come to a medium, like it's like basically an agree to disagree situation, I just don't really debate. I don't really put my effort into debating because I don't see why they'll listen. In this case, it's a protest, and it's like whether or not certain people will listen, some people will, and there's now a lot of people involved in this protest. I'm so thankful for the amount of people who are involved with trying to stick up for Black lives. We all matter. We all matter. And I was actually talking about us. Our lives, you know. us melanin people. I mean, obviously all lives matter, but Black lives matter. Justice for George Floyd. No peace, no justice. And for those who are doing I'm Muted, I thank you too. Thank you for all the people on the street. I'm praying for America. Please like, subscribe, share this box right here. Please like, subscribe, share. I'll see you again soon. Okay. Thank you for listening to me.